still Buddycast. No, don't be naughty, go meet a buddy here on Buddycast.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the founder and host of Buddycast, Nick Sorensen.
Good Friday evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of everybody's favorite show, Buddycast. I'm your host, Nick Sorensen. Thank you for joining us on a Friday night. You could be out doing a million other things, but you chose to be here on Buddycast or watching the replay, whichever works for you. But we got a special episode today. We got a very special buddy. My buddy, first off, my buddy, Ryan Brown, aka Dwight Schrute. You all know him. You've seen him a dozen times on Buddycast. He was at my bachelor party. He's going to be at Comic-Con Erie here soon and Steel City Con. How you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. And our guest of honor, the buddy of the hour, Mr. Robert Shafer, aka Vance from Vance Refrigeration. How you doing?
Hello, buddies. I want to hear more about the bachelor party. I feel like there's some incriminating stuff that probably needs to be disclosed to the public at large. So later, we'll hold the confession.
All I can say is whiskey was involved, and when else do you get to say Dwight Schrute went to your bachelor party?
Or drove the boat for the Bruce Cruise. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dwight Schrute, but we probably wouldn't get a straight answer.
We couldn't get Dwight in the casino. That's how popular he was. We couldn't get him. Everyone, can we take a photo? Can we take a photo? Can we take a photo with you?
I was just kind of like I am now, blazer and t-shirt.
We couldn't get into the casino doors.
Dwight's a phenomenon 20 years later, so that shows you.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, Robert, I got to start out this episode. How did you find the role of Bob Vance on The Office?
I auditioned for it pretty much like everything I ever got in my 35 years in Hollywood. It was Halloween, and I didn't know it was Halloween. And so I was late getting to the audition. What normally took 15 minutes was now 30. There was no parking. Suddenly I realized it was Halloween because there were people in costumes, in Hollywood. So I'm late to the audition. I'm sweating. I'm running. I can't run with a torn ACL, but I did my best, kind of dragging it down Hollywood. And, where were we? I was in the heart of Hollywood, and kicked butt. And 2 weeks later, I got a call back. The director, and Phyllis was there, and I'm pretty sure that Phyllis made the final, input on the decision. I think it worked out pretty well.
Wonderful. Give me your real input on the character Bob Vance. Like, what your real thoughts on are him?
Well, for me, the key discovery was in an episode in Phyllis's wedding, which is my favorite episode, of course, and my most involvement in the series. And I got to say to Michael, if you ever lay your finger on Phyllis, I'll kill you. One of my favorite lines of all time. There was a disclosure that Bob was a combat infantry officer in Vietnam. A Marine combat infantry officer in Vietnam. I don't know if you know much about combat infantry officers in Vietnam, but I watched a good movie the other day, Rules of Engagement, with Samuel Jackson and Tommy Lee Jones, an old movie. And they have a line in there, what's the life expectancy of a second lieutenant in Vietnam? And he said 16 seconds. I mean, so to a Marine, I've been around them. I flew with one. I was writing documentaries for A&E, and I got to go up with the most decorated Marine Corps combat helicopter pilot in Vietnam. He was a rare breed. He's got a great book. Low Level Hell is the name of it. Hugh Mills was his name, Major. And he was pretty stern stuff. I mean, he had one battle where he had 3 helicopters shot out from underneath him in the same day. Kept going back and getting a new one and flying right back into it. So, there's a certain mindset that goes with being a Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. In fact, you never say you're an ex-Marine. You say you're a retired Marine. So that was the key. And then the other thing was, I told Phyllis in Casino Night, which is a great episode, my second favorite, remember your first love in junior high school? Let's do that. So, that love is totally focused on the other person, and nothing, not even Michael Scott, can get in between them. So that's what I did, and that's, what I think most women respond to it, certainly, because Bob is chivalrous. Beyond all that. Besides the weird stuff and the kinky sex and all the other crazy stuff that the writers threw in there, that you suddenly, as an actor, have to, incorporate. I mean, in my mind, I never took a drink at any of the parties. I was always drinking soda. I never had alcoholic beverages. And then the next thing I know, there's a throwaway comedy line in a talking head where Phyllis says that we were on safari in Africa. We might have run over a kid. We're not really sure. We hit and run. Then Bob is had something with the grand jury, and there's threats to Michael, and people are the Five Families episode didn't do anything to dispel that. I mean, Bob's a mafia boss. That's one of the most popular Office fan theories. I mean, Scranton Strangler. I mean, Bob got weird. I mean, having sex on Valentine's Day lunch with Jim and Pam in the disabled bathroom is kind of weird. Really is.
Definitely.
Or going out to a bar and having Phyllis wear something low cut, so then I can beat up guys that stare at her cleavage. That's, there's a little bit of psycho in that. If you really get down to it on another level. And of course, I'm familiar with playing psychos. I played Psycho Cop in the Immortal film series, so I know about Psycho. But I was just saying that, I started out, with a different idea, and then they started expanding the universe. There was one film I did where the character was this really weird newspaper writer. It's called Whippler, the Ted Whitfield story. It's the Screwball. It's a Whippleball movie, parodying Major League Baseball. And they want me to pour blue cheese on my chest. I'm sitting there bare-chested, which is bad enough. But then they go, you just pour blue cheese on your chest. I'm like, looking at it, I'm like, why? Why do you want me to pour blue cheese on my chest? Oh, it's weird. I'm like, that it is. Well, so I had to give into it. I didn't really want to do it. It's not cool. But then I thought, well, maybe I'll just dip this carrot in there and take a bite. So, I work with it. You got to learn how to work with it. Blue cheese, pour blue cheese on your chest.
You kind of touched it on a little bit, but let's play Game of Favorites. You mentioned favorite episodes, favorite line. Give me a favorite behind the scenes moment.
That's tough. Probably in Phyllis's wedding, we're standing outside getting ready to go out to the van. I'm driving the van. And they had the logo. The first time I'd seen the Vance Refrigeration logo with the penguin. First night I saw it was on the van, big. So we're standing there, we're surrounded by everybody, and they're getting ready to throw rice at us. And Phyllis starts to cry a little bit. She goes, I wish this could last forever. And I say, it certainly will.
Wonderful. So what are some ways you relate to Bob Vance?
Well, above and beyond all else, he's a salesman. And he knows where the cameras are. He's always playing to the cameras. That's why he says his name and his company name. It's very old-fashioned greeting. When men used to travel on the train, they would have expensive business cards, and they would introduce themselves with their name, their business, and their hometown. So right away, now you've got 3 things to talk about with the other person, right? You're trying to sell something. So essentially, Bob is a salesman at heart. You know, that was always my thought was, and the energy that guy has. You know, when Bob first comes in, I mean, I hit him with a lightning bolt. They have no idea what just came in, and you know, hit him, hit him hard. Broke him on the first take. We only did 2 of those. The Bob Vance in the triple.
Bob Vance, Vance Refrigeration. Bob Vance, Vance Refrigeration.
What line of work you in, Bob? Which is the title of my new book that I'm currently working on. And by announcing it here, I'm hoping to put pressure on myself to finish it.
A Buddycast exclusive. We love it.
Yeah. Can I just say, the first time me and my friends met you, that's the way this guy came up and introduced himself. We were just walking by on the sidewalk. He just stops to shake our hands, and each time, hey, how you doing, Bob Vance? Vance Refrigeration.
Sure.
It was fantastic.
Well, we call that the full treatment.
You and Hide especially are really great at giving that.
Oh, Hide.
Yeah.
He's a character.
In Japan, heart surgeon number 1.
What's that?
In Japan, heart surgeon number 1.
Yeah, he's been in California for a long time, though.
Ryan, give us a question.
I want to know, what has been your best fan experience at cons? Like, you get to have so many moments with people. What's been like your favorite one so far at the reunion?
Oh, at a con?
Yeah.
My favorite moment. Well, I mean, they're all kind of the same. They're all chock full of love. You know, people are not there to hate on you, so it's been mostly pleasant. I like the girls in Miami who were dressed up. One had on the Bob Vance hat and the shirt and the jacket, and another one was dressed as a refrigerator.
Oh, okay, yeah. They stopped by the desk. I saw them. They were great. Yeah.
When you opened the refrigerator, there were pictures of food in there. Kind of made me hungry.
She had little stuff. Yeah, all from the office in there, right?
I called it the above and beyond reward. You know.
Yeah.
It's fun to be Bob Vance. I mean, you know, people respond to it. So who knew? You could never
They have
predict.
it in the refrigerator. Did she have the Jello with the stapler in it?
I didn't notice that. Probably.
She did have different food items for different characters in there.
Wow.
The Jello. That's how conscientious these characters are. I mean, they love detail.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of food, I've got an episode question for you. We saw you on Pretzel Day, the Pretzel Day episode. What did Bob Vance get on his pretzel?
What do you think? Take a shot.
I'm going with some sort of cheese, maybe a beer cheese.
Well, I mean, is there anything else to put on a warm pretzel besides beer cheese?
Yeah, I was going salted caramel.
No sweet. No.
Okay.
I'm a cheese guy with pretzels all the way. Good guess.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, well, he just spoke about blue cheese or covering himself in blue cheese, and he's, you know, he doesn't strike me as like this guy who would get like all this like chocolate or powder or stuff on it.
On his, he had everything on there. He had sprinkles and, you know, caramel and marshmallows. Who knew what all he put on there? The guy that was doing it ended up. I got fired from a play. Yeah, I wanted to play that part too. What was it? All the King's Men. I had been in rehearsal for a week. And I think I was being a little too uppity with them. You know, they would have put me in my place. It's a problem when you have a man and his wife or the producers. You know that I didn't know. Anyway, the guy who played the pretzel guy replaced me in that play.
Huh.
Yeah, small town. Nice little unknown detail. That's the only play I ever got fired from. It was something I might have quit, but you know, usually when you sign on, you're in there whether you like it or not. You know, you're always, you know, sometimes you want to get out. Like, oh, I gotta move, I gotta go.
So, Bob, stick around. You guys stick around for a second. I do have to play a word from our sponsors here. So give me 2 seconds. Hiya, buddies. You know, they say a buddy is someone you can call up in 5, 10 years and say, hey, let's grab a meal or let's grab a drink. And you can catch up to them and feel like it's only been yesterday. Well, my buddies over at the brewery at Union Station are just the place to do so. With real food, real beer, real historic atmosphere, the brewery at Union Station is just the place for you to meet up with your buddy. The brewery offers a variety of handcraft beers and other fun activities, including bocce and ghost tours. You know, you can check out the Mug Club as well. My buddy Chris, the owner, was actually on Buddycast and told us all about it. So check out that episode if you don't mind. He wants you to bring your buddies over there for a good time. So call them today at 814-454-2200 or visit brewery.com. Tell my buddy Chris I said cheers and that Buddy sent you. And now, go be someone's buddy. Thanks for tuning in to Buddycast. That was a word from our sponsors at Brew Erie. I know Bob enjoys a good drink, doesn't he?
Oh, I used to.
Mm.
Now I'm pretty much stick to iced tea.
Nice. What's your favorite iced tea?
Iced tea is the thing.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite flavor of iced tea? Like favorite brand?
Oh, I don't know. Anyone. I like the unsweetened ones.
Nice. Absolutely. So Ryan touched on it a little bit, you know, your reaction at the reunions, but what are the reunions like for you? What's it like going back, meeting up with the cast again, just seeing this project that you've worked on all these years ago and having it be like just yesterday or so?
Well, it's 20 years, as I said, so that is, almost a third of my life now, and a little less, but it's, who knew that was going to have this kind of staying power? I mean, it's certainly new in the annals of television history. I can't think of any other show that's had a particular run like this one. It continues to be beloved. I tell the story when we went off the air in 2013, 11 years ago. Rolling Stone ranked us number 48 all time. And when you look at the list of great TV shows, I mean, there's easily 100 of them. Oh, that was good. That was good. So that seemed pretty fair to me. And since then, I think we've gone up. I don't think we're number 48 anymore. When we were on Netflix, we doubled the second place show, which was Friends. Doubled it in streaming time. And the audience used to be 30 to 40-year-olds with $100,000 plus income per year, disposable income to purchase items like the hat at NBCstore.com, right? Then all of a sudden, I went to Scranton, throw a pitch out at the Yankees AAA ball club there, at beautiful ballpark. And it was all kids, 10, 11, 12 years old. I'm like, when did this happen? I always thought of it as an adult show. I never realized kids were watching it. So the audience became, young kids and everybody. I mean, all the people who, used to go, I've never seen it. You don't run into that too much anymore. Mm-hmm. So there's still a few people who go, I never watched The Office. They're proud of it. I'm like, well, you should, because it's great.
Ryan, how many? Go ahead.
I would say one of the last great shows.
Mm-hmm. Ryan, how many times do you think you've streamed The Office in your lifetime?
Over 100. It's played over 100 in my household. I like after that you kind of lose count. But yeah, what he was saying, the audience base, it's grown so much. One of the coolest things I ever had happen was I was walking around at Steel City Con, and turned around, I noticed this kid following me. He must have been 4 or 5 years old. And I'm thinking, what's he doing? Because I'm dressed like a guy from The Office. He's not interested. He just looks up at me and he goes, "You're Dwight." And he was in awe. And just like to see a kid that young that had watched The Office, you start to realize that it's never going to die. It's going to keep growing by generations.
Well, I Love Lucy still playing. So, I mean,
yeah.
All the old shows are still playing now. I mean, it used to be when the show went off the air, that was it. And that's changed obviously with cable and streaming, and now you can pretty much see anything on demand. So, you know, the business has changed a great deal. Mostly camera technology, the biggest change.
Mm-hmm. How many people, going off of Dwight's statement there, how many people recognize you in public as Bob Vance?
When I wear the gear, I'm 40 pounds lighter now than I was when I was playing the role. So, and I live in West Virginia. People don't give a about, that Hollywood or any of it. When you start talking to them, sure they do, but I don't typically discuss it.
I'm sure you've heard the joke before, but after the first time meeting you, I used to say, you downgrade, now you're a mini fridge.
Yeah, well, I may have heard it.
May have heard it, may have not liked it, may have cussed you out that night. Same thing. Oh, so you guys got to tell me about your interactions together. You guys got to tell me. You guys have spent time together. What's it been like? What's it been like dealing with this character, Rob?
I swear I only talked to him for 2 minutes at the last one.
Yeah, we like the last one was busy. We got to go out and take a break before the show on Saturday, and then it was kind of go there from there.
That was it. So, I'm mostly working. I mean, you're sitting at your table, signing stuff and take pictures. I mean, with bands, and they're sweet, and they all like to hear a story. And the only thing is, I did some I did some quick math, and I've taken 8 trips in the last 4 years. I retired 4 years ago, so I like sitting up here on my mountaintop in the woods and not really going anywhere. And then all of a sudden, I realized I've been traveling like I'm a working man, and I don't like flying. Airlines have made that a very unbuddy-like experience.
Been there.
You're just cattle to them. So the buddy part of it, we're no longer buddies with them, really.
Mm-hmm. I've been there. I've definitely had unbuddy-like experiences at airports, especially when you get into town at 9 p.m. and you have to drive 2 hours to get back home, and they tell you, "Oh yeah, your luggage is still in Massachusetts."
Oh yeah, well, they're gonna lose bags. I mean, that's when I used to fly back in the day, when I would check them with not the bellhop, but the flight guy. When I come in, they would always ship it to Charleston, South Carolina. I would say I'm going to Charleston, and they'd ship it to Charleston, South Carolina. So that happened time and time again until the shows you how old I am. The airport code came in, the 3-letter abbreviation, and I could say CRW.
Definitely. So honing into your Bob Vance character, what does Bob think of Buddycast so far?
Oh, well, buddy is one of Bob Vance's favorite words. I mean, when I was an actor in LA and I would be going from movie to movie or to TV show to TV show, everybody became buddy because I couldn't remember names. There were too many names. There's always, 100 people on the set or thereabouts. And you can't possibly remember all those names, especially when you're not spending 2-3 months with them. Then you can learn their name. But if you're only there for a week or a day, sometimes hey, bud, hey, buddy. So it's long been in my repertoire.
Mm-hmm. I'm the exact same way. With me, it's just a matter of you could introduce yourself. I could turn around, walk around and go, who was that again? Or what was his name again? So buddy's that term to me. Buddy is that,
Yeah, no, it is a cop-out. But, we can't be responsible to remember all these things. Now they want to add pronouns to it. I mean, come on, get out of here. We can't even remember your name, let alone your freaking pronouns. Thank God.
Mm-hmm. I know Dwight has a few more questions for you.
Yeah, I like everything you've done in the office and your acting career. What's been the most rewarding part to you? Like, where do you look back and you say, man, I'm really glad I did that?
Well, I did True West, the Sam Shepard play, and I played Lee in True West. It's a very famous play. Ed Harris did it. He was the first guy to do it. The Quaid brothers did it. Malkovich and Sinise did it. That's what made them famous. True West. So I did it in a little theater in Pasadena where Shepard wrote it, and it's a very powerful piece. And you're right on top of the audience, and I was getting to use my voice to full effect. I can scare people, so I did, and I did it all on a torn ACL. I tore my ACL the opening night. I was going up this one step, and I hit it wrong, and so for the rest of the play, I was limping, but I braced it up and went out there and did it. I mean, I was doing it in pain, but I was still using the pain and kicking butt every night. I mean, I never took a night off with that piece. I mean, it demanded full concentration. I mean, it's a very dialogue intensive piece, and long monologues and great monologues. And now I can't remember any of it, but I sure loved doing it when I was doing it.
Nice.
So that was like your Michael Jordan flu game, basically.
Yeah, because last night I was up in I was north of Santa Barbara. I was filming a commercial for Chevron Oil. I was these oil derricks up there, and I didn't get released from that commercial until 8 p.m., which is when the show was supposed to start in Pasadena, an hour and a half away. So I call them up and I go, I'm not going to make it. And they go, the audience is waiting. You better get here. This is last night. We gotta send them out. So I was driving a 1969 Cadillac Sedan DeVille. And I think I set a land speed record that night getting from north of Santa Barbara down to Pasadena. But, I was in the fast lane and I was coming through, so everybody just kind of let that old bad boy through and, ran in and did the show and had a great party afterwards. And, it was a fun time. I mean, the pressure of, trying to drive fast through LA and Santa Barbara and then Pasadena is intense. That added to the sport, Because normally I don't like the speed, especially not in the Cadillac, because it takes a long time to stop a car that big.
Definitely. So, Bob, I got another random question for you. Are you a coffee drinker?
Yeah.
Awesome. What's your favorite type of coffee?
Well, I've been drinking Starbucks French roast, but I just ordered some new coffee. I got a 5-pound bag of it. I don't know if I like it or not now. Because I kind of got used to that Starbucks. I mean, their French roast is pitch black. I mean, it's to my taste the strongest one out there.
Mm-hmm. I asked that because here at Buddycast, we have our own line of coffee. We call it Everybody's Favorite Cup of Coffee.
Okay.
It's a mix of chocolate and vanilla, like a French vanilla with a nice hint of chocolate.
Okay.
So PM me a way that I can send it to you, and I'll send you a bag.
Okay, that sounds like a deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll order some.
Mm-hmm. And Dwight, I'll give you one at Steel City Con.
Well, I will be at Steel City.
Yeah, but next reunion.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see about that.
Oh,
I'm hoping to get Phyllis to show up at one of them.
Oh man, I would love that. I really would.
I think Dwight would pay top dollar to get the couples photo with you guys.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, no, that'd be a good one. But that would also mean that something happened to her mom, more than likely. So her mom's 101 years old, and she can't.
Wow.
In fact, she did 2 commercials for Cheerios. One was Stanley, and then the second was Stanley and Angela. And Cheerios or General Mills, they came to St. Louis where Phyllis lives to shoot it.
Oh.
She didn't come to them to shoot it. They came to her. They brought the other 2 actors there. I mean, that's when you make the cereal company come to you to shoot the commercial, you're doing all right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Who are some other actors you're hoping to catch up with at another reunion?
Well, I didn't really spend much time with any of them this year. I mean, David Denman, it was good to see, the guy who played Roy. It was nice to be able to talk to him because this was his first con. I always like seeing all of them, Stanley and Creed. I mean, they're all fun guys. I mean, it shows through the screen, I think, what kind of people they are. They're a lot like their characters.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Dwight? Who are you hoping to meet one day at the reunion?
Man, I really just met my big one, which was Angela. That was a really big moment for me, and I got to be the first person she saw coming out of the green room the first day, and she stopped and had a moment with me, and that really meant a lot to me. So.
So you were the first person for both Angela and Dwight in that case.
Well, Dwight, it was set up that way. I got to,
Yeah.
go back to the back hallway and say hi to him before he went in at all. But Angela, it just happened by accident. I was going out to take a break before the show started, and she was coming out.
That is awesome. So now, Robert, when you're not doing anything film, when you're not acting, when you're not, doing anything like that, what are some of your hobbies?
Well, I was an avid golfer for a very long time. I mean, when I say avid, I mean obsession, like a crack addict. I mean, I had to play every day, practice every day. I mean, you're trying to get better. And then I'm a writer and I like to watch movies. I mean, I'm in the movie business. I mean, when I first started, I lived right across the street from a place called Rocket Video. And it was all VHS, right? And so every day I was in there watching a new movie. That's how I learned the film business. And that's how I learned how to write screenplays. And, Greg Daniels, the creator of The Office, somebody once asked him, what's the best way to write a screenplay? And he said, pop an episode into the VHS or the DVD player and pause it after every bit of action, every dialogue, and write it. And you'll see how what a script is supposed to look like, because it's a very precise format of script writing, because each page represents 1 minute. Yeah. Well, though, we would shoot, our average page count was probably 45, 50 pages to every script. So we always had extra scenes, and there were deleted scenes. And, we used to fight for 10 seconds extra. We need 23 minutes, not 22:50. I mean, that's how tight the cuts were. Just because you shot it doesn't mean it's going to make it in the show, right? There are plenty of times where I do an episode and I go, I'm not telling anybody because I don't know if it's going to be in there. Because you tell somebody, hey, I'm in the show tonight, and then you're not in it. So, that's a consideration you don't have very often, but sometimes. I mean, that was the good thing about being Bob, was I was usually at the party scene with Phyllis. So, you're going to be in it.
Was there a scene from The Office that was cut that you were kind of like disappointed it was cut, or wish was still in the episode?
Well, the fart joke at the wedding, that was, that's a deleted scene and a very funny scene, especially when we filmed it, because Steve Carell could not say the word pungent. Every time he said pungent, he fell apart. This went on for like a half an hour, and every time he said the word, oh, pungent. They're cute. Phyllis and Michael accuse each other of farting in the dressing room before the wedding. And so, I smell it at the door. I mean, it was a very funny scene. That one would be the only one I can think of.
Nice. So I got 2 more questions for you. Rob or Ryan, you got any more questions up?
Yeah. I have a kind of off the wall one. So I have a big, as you can see behind me, horror wall. I'm a big horror movie fan. You're talking about how you are a big movie buff.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, what's your favorite horror movie, or even series?
Oh, I like all the old stuff. I like the Christopher Lee stuff. That's my first movie. I worked with Christopher Lee. I don't think you have any idea how, intimidating that was. I mean,
I can only imagine.
Bigger than life. I mean, he's a big, tall guy, and he's very regal. He was a surfer. He was a special forces soldier in World War II. I mean, he was a badass. I mean, he wasn't just, a pretty boy actor. I mean, that's 100%, hero, legend, Dracula, for God's sakes. And there he is standing there. I mean, you got to pull yourself together. That's where your training comes in, where you learn how to handle yourself there without, letting that influence you.
Wonderful. Any more questions, Blake?
Boy, if I can think of right now, maybe come back to me before the end.
Sounds good. One question I have for you is brought to us by my buddy Jonas Kane, who runs this amazing platform called #Positivity. He wants to know, in your own words, what does it mean to be someone's buddy?
Pick them up at the airport. That's an old joke,
I was going to say, I have a feeling there's a story behind that.
No, in LA, it's the biggest favor you can ask is for somebody to come and pick you up at the airport. I mean, the other day when I went into LA, it took 25 minutes to get out of the LAX parking garage. Okay, so it's a monster, that airport. So and keeping their confidence is, I mean, that's an important part of it. I think we live in a pretty superficial world, where we can just say we're buddies, but keeping some of these, I think it's a big thing too. It's fun to gossip, but it's better to have a true friend than to go blather everything that you know about somebody.
Exactly. You're right on the money. It's better to have a friend that you can trust with secrets, that you can trust with just your life and everything, rather than that fake buddy. We call them nutty buddies, that you think they're buddies, and then all of a sudden, poof, something,
That's the film business in a heartbeat. I mean, people you think are your friends, you'll be pulling the knife out of your back if they can advance themselves. I mean, it's very cutthroat. I mean, I'm not breaking news. When I say that, I mean, there's lots of famous movies about it, and it was a fun life. It was a hard life, but it was also pretty rewarding. Obviously.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, it's a win. It's a win for old Bobby Ray.
And you reminded me of a story that someone once told me. I talked to Stephen Tobolowsky from Groundhog Day, and he told me the exact same story. He told me about how he was, his friend was up for the role of Ned Ryerson, and it was pretty much, his friend was like, I'm a shoo-in. They were writing the piece for me, not him. And he's like, okay. And he didn't tell him that he had the audition the next day. So, because he's like, when you're a Hollywood actor and you're talking to another Hollywood actor, all you want to hear them say is that I'm quitting the business, going off in another direction or something. It's never looking back. It's like, that's the one thing you just want to hear from somebody.
Oh, that's pretty funny. I mean, that's really not true. Yeah. But it happens all the time. I mean, it starts out with all these guys, and it, gets a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller. The pond gets smaller and the fish get bigger is the way I always describe it. I would go to auditions sometimes with another movie stars and be like, why are they here? What am I doing here with these guys? But, it's really, ego is not really involved in it as much as people think. I mean, the art of acting has really nothing to do with your ego. I mean, that's some fairy tale, I think from the 1930s glamour machine, the golden era, where they tried to make it seem like it would live forever, but it doesn't. People think this actor will always be remembered, but not so much. I mean, it comes and goes. It really lasts with each generation. It's not about foreverness, if you will. Although, we like to think we're immortal, but we're not.
Well, hey, Bob Vance can be as immortal as whenever right now,
Bob Vance is forever.
True words are never spoken.
Any more questions, Dwayne, before I ask the ultimate Buddycast buddy question?
Man.
It's going to be tough to top the ultimate Buddycast question.
Have you, like, going back to the reunion and everything, you're talking about meeting real people. Who have you connected with, through the reunion? Who have you reconnected with in the cast? You just kind of found to have a strong bond with? Like for me, last convention, I got to know Mila Jackson. I'm making sure I pronounce it right because that's a pet peeve of hers. People always pronounce her name wrong. But the
Not really responsible for the way he pronounces names.
yeah, Yamila Jackson. But she played Daryl's sister, and I'll tell you, we hung out, and she was just one of the nicest, most genuine people I have ever met.
Good. Well, I didn't really, I was working and sleeping, so I didn't really, in eating, I did some eating there, but not as much as I wanted to. The motel was kind of set away from the action, so, I just hung out there mostly.
I gotcha. See, I wasn't sure where you guys were set up last time.
No, everybody was hanging out in that bar, but I was already in bed. I go to bed early and get up very early, so that's how you write a book. I hope this will finish. And it's called What Line of Work Are You In, Bob?
I love it. What line of work are you in, Bob?
I'm in the keeping it cool business, buddy.
Love it. There we go. So now it's time for what we call the ultimate Buddycast buddy question. You ready for this one?
Sure.
For anyone out there who wants to be an actor, who wants to go into show business, what's your advice to them?
Make your own movie. Learn how to act, and then write yourself a movie, raise the money, shoot it, sell it, and see if that can get you started out. I mean, you could do it the old-fashioned way like I did and go there and audition for everything in the world and go to classes and learn how to, I'm a method actor, so I was in school for 3 years and all I did was study the great playwrights. But acting is reading. You can't, it's not just talking. It's really about reacting more than anything and being able to live in a moment correctly. I mean, just because you're there doesn't mean you're living in the moment. So there is skill involved. I mean, there's, different levels of acting. There's Anthony Hopkins and there's Flavor Flav. Okay. Those are very different levels. They both belong to Screen Actors Guild, but they do very different things. So, study hard, work hard, read a lot, get out and audition, and make your own damn movie.
Perfect. The final question I have, because this is a little spin-off of that question, what's Bob Vance's advice for anyone who wants to go in the refrigeration-based business?
Keep the refrigerator full. Be sure to clean the dust out from underneath of it, and get service from Vance Refrigeration at least once a year, and you'll be all set to go.
Perfect. Well, Robert, thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
For being on Buddycast. It was a true pleasure. Thanks, Dwight, for helping me co-host.
Thank you, Dwight, buddy.
Yes. If you can't stick around for a minute, we'll just say, hey. But for all my buddies out there, this is my buddy, Robert Shafer. This is my buddy, Ryan Brown. Rob, before we close out the episode, one more favor to ask you. I ask this to all my buddies that come on the show. Whatever you do today, tomorrow, next week, next month, even next year, promise me you're going to go out and you're going to go be someone's buddy.
I promise.
Perfect. We'll catch you all next time here on everybody's favorite show.
All right.
Well, the days are going fast. Buddy, we've got to make them last. Buddy, before they've all gone past. Buddy, tune in to Buddycast. Don't be nutty, go make it, buddy, here on Buddycast.